patrickcc. We got Criss Angel's Scary Obsession with David Blaine by patrickcc. patrickcc, talk to me. But before we get started, I know I missed the patrickcc upload. I didn't upload last week's Patrick video because I didn't watch it. Now, y'all know I fuck with Patrick, one of my favorite creators. The only thing is, one of my favorite video doc / video essay creators, commentators. But that other video was about politics or some shit, and I was like, yeah, I can't have politics on the channel, bro. I'm sorry, I can't do that, bro. I'm not trying to get into all of that shit, bro. But Patrick, you know I'm gonna fuck with this video, and I'm gonna fuck with all the other ones, bro.
What started as a professional rivalry over who the best magician was turned into an all-out obsession when Criss Angel realized he was living in the shadow of David Blaine.
But Criss Angel had aura.
Video shows and in interviews, Criss was always quick to throw shade at David.
You know what's kind of funny is, like, you know, David Blaine, which, you know, I give him a lot of credit for what he's doing, but is known because of who he dates. I want to be known for what I do.
Criss even dedicated an entire television segment to mocking Blaine, using a full hair and makeup team to transform himself into his arch nemesis to sell the joke. Years of tension kept building until Criss finally decided to confront David face to face backstage.
I always thought this nigga levitating was real. He would go like this, and then he would go like an inch off the ground and then land again, and we'd be like, holy shit, that nigga's flying.
And Blaine's response was more brutal than anything Criss Angel could have imagined. David Blaine had a vision for magic that nobody else did at the time. Most magicians relied heavily on visual spectacles, big sets, elaborate props, flashy costumes, and exaggerated theatrics designed to overwhelm the audience. David did the opposite. He wore plain clothes, was emotionless in the face, and gave small, focused crowds of people magic on the street for free. Stephen Chow, a former Fox executive who was chosen to produce Mr. Blaine's special,
who did it? David Blaine was cold though. I don't know why niggas hated David Blaine.
Put it this way, he's the only magician I've seen who wasn't a geek. Blaine's approach made every trick feel personal and more real. It wasn't happening on a stage far away, it was happening right in front of your face. He famously said in 1997, the reason
bro, nah,
far away, it was happening right.
Nigga, look at her face. This nigga just blowing my face
right in front of your face. He famously said in 1997,
hell nah, bro. Nigga blowing my face. We gotta fight, bro. We gotta fight. Even if it's not you blowing smoke in my face, you just blowing in my face. Yeah, we gotta fight.
The reason for magic is to enlighten people or make them happy, or let them forget their problems for 2 minutes. David's style and his mindset were authentically humble, and it made him stand out. He walked around New York City filming himself performing tricks for regular people and tried to pitch it to television networks. ABC executives decided to take a chance on him, and it paid off. David Blaine's street magic was packed with tricks and illusions, like when Blaine twisted his hand around several times in front of a licensed doctor outside a local hospital.
This way, facing towards you. The other way. Turn to the left. Yeah, more to the left. Twist it so it's straight. All right, now move your foot back a little bit so you can see this. Yeah. Twist your hand inwards a little bit. Like this. Go ahead. Inwards, a little bit, slowly. A little bit more. Right. Here's where it starts to get painful. With your left hand, could you grab my right hand? My fingers?
With my left hand?
Yeah, grab my fingers and twist them a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep going. Keep going. Ow. Keep going. A little bit more. Yeah, keep going. Out. No. No, keep going. Keep pushing. Keep going. Yeah. I want to keep going.
Hey, David,
keep going. No, keep going. Keep going. You hear that crack?
The show became a resounding success not just because of the tricks, but rather the stunned responses from each small audience.
Nigga.
13. All right, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See, it's as soon as you connect it, that's when it happens. See, where's the cards? See what I'm saying? They switch it from hand to hand. That's what it is. Here, look, check it out. Watch like this. Ready? Look, watch. Watch this. Ready? Just watch this move. Look. No, look. Watch. Look. Here's the switch, right? It's right here, right? All right. See that? That's the move, right? Yo, I'm gonna give you something. Hold this. I got something for you, man. I got a little treat, like a present for you.
Oh! I didn't even He lucky these ain't YA crash outs, my nigga. You trying to steal my fucking watch, nigga? Yo.
However, a lot of practicing magicians were not too fond of David. In a moment of bitter jealousy, Jamie Ian Swiss, a magician and columnist for the Genie Magic magazine, said his only skill is removing money from a wallet and handing it to a person behind the counter. David refused to respond to the hate because ultimately he was successfully completing his mission of making magic accessible to as many people as possible, and in doing so he actually made it cool to a mainstream audience.
He did.
Now there was another magician called Criss Angel who had actually
mindfreak. Yeah,
trying to make magic look cool for years, but the harder he tried, the more it started to work against him. But before we dive deeper,
hey Patrick, I know I'm sorry, bro. It's been a minute. I know I missed your last upload. I just wanted to apologize to you, but you know, I'm locked in, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm locked in.
Football is back, and there's never been a better time to check out the sponsor of today's video, DraftKings. DraftKings doing magic longer than David Blaine, but was less popular. A lot like Blaine, Criss spent most of his early magic career.
I don't need the jump ahead button, bro. I can do it.
Performing for small audiences, but he genuinely felt like a career magician by the age of 14, performing at small birthday parties and entertaining guests at a Long Island restaurant. But his initial motivation to do magic tricks for others wasn't exactly as humble as David's. I felt this incredible sense of power that an adult didn't understand how it worked, but I did. In 1987, he launched a public access magic show called Hot Kicks. 20-year-old Criss looked and dressed like a Guns N' Roses tour groupie. In 1994,
he kind of looked like Slash.
made his primetime television debut in the ABC one-hour special, Secrets. Through the mid to late 90s, Criss appeared on various television specials and talk shows, using these spots to showcase his edgy, rock-influenced take on magic. He leaned heavily into the dark magician image. Gothic leather clothing and heavy metal soundtracks complemented the grungy aesthetic of the 90s.
I thought magicians were very cheesy, quite honestly. I was much more about the generation of MTV, you know, Zeppelin and, you know, some of the 80s bands and, you know.
That nigga got money, though. Look at that watch on his wrist.
Music
Jesus.
and that culture and that vibe and that energy that you got from it, and magicians weren't doing that.
Now, there was no structured career path to being a successful magician. Unlike musicians or actors, magicians didn't have a thriving mainstream pipeline. There were no Netflix specials, no social media clips to go viral overnight, and TV networks only greenlit magic shows sparingly. If you weren't already a big name magician, such as Copperfield or Penn and Teller, you had to get extremely creative to market yourself and make money. And for someone like Criss, who basically wanted to be the first rock star magician, the market was even narrower. Despite the odds being stacked against him, Criss had an incredible drive. He was well into his 30s, still fully dedicated to making this dream into a career. Meanwhile, David Blaine rapidly passed him in popularity. Blaine's ABC show made him a household name, and he quickly shifted from simple card tricks to unbelievable endurance stunts that blurred the line between illusion and human survival. Unlike a magic trick where you know there's some secret method behind the illusion, Blaine's endurance feats felt brutally real. Although certain precautions are set to ensure that he doesn't die, there's no obvious trick to things like being buried alive, which is a stunt Blaine dedicated to his idol, Harry Houdini, who was buried.
Shout out Houdini.
6 feet underground without a casket almost a century earlier. In 1999, David spent 7 days sealed inside of a glass coffin under a water tank in New York City. His friend Bill Kalush initially suggested that he fake the stunt, but Blaine refused.
Is it bad that I never knew Houdini's first name? Is it bad that I never knew that nigga's name was Harry? Oh my gosh, Harry Houdini?
Because he thought it would actually be easy.
So we got a coffin from Queens where actually Houdini was buried. I bought a coffin, we brought it back to his house, and then I would just practice sleeping in the coffin. Then suddenly, but then suddenly I realized you don't eat food, and then if you have a little thing to go to the bathroom, I did 4 days like nothing, so I'm like, okay, I can do a week.
Blaine did not eat for 2 weeks before the stunt, but continued drinking water prior to and during the stunt.
Copywriting niggas who even, like, bro, y'all watch You know what? I'm not even gonna do it.
He was sealed in a see-through coffin beneath 6 tons of water. Oxygen was transferred in and out of the holes above his head. A catheter was inserted into Blaine's bladder to safely drain any urine, and spectators could come and go whenever they wanted. He said people would shine flashlights on him at 2 a.m. to make sure he was really in there. This was no trick. This was the real deal, but he took it even further. The following year, he executed his frozen in time stunt. David Blaine was fully encased in ice in the middle of Times Square while lightly dressed in a long-sleeve shirt, pants, and a beanie. He had a tube that supplied air, water, and another that removed urine. The ice was transparent and elevated so people could see that he was inside the entire time. He couldn't sleep or move because touching the ice for too long would cause frostbite. He just had to stand there, freezing, alone with his thoughts. Around hour 55, his eyes went out and he began hallucinating. He was talking to imaginary people, felt like spiders were crawling all over him, and said that minutes took hours to pass by. On the brink of death, medics were forced to remove him from the ice after 63 hours. This time, the critics were silenced. There was no way to fake this. Whether you saw it on TV or in real life, you knew this guy was on a different level.
Shout out Blaine.
What's interesting
He's not
is that
even
almost
speaking.
immediately after Frozen in Time, Criss Angel performed a somewhat similar stunt. He spent 24 hours submerged in a tank of water, also in the middle of Times Square.
Upside
Now,
down.
at the time, Criss wasn't known for endurance feats. He was actually still promoting his theater show, Criss Angel Mindfreak, off Broadway, and
Mindfreak.
reviews were not so great. Though in interviews, Angel has poo-pooed the cheesy nature of standard magic shows, his disappearances, quick changes, and levitations are really standard Blackstone, Copperfield stuff, a bit of a letdown considering the impressive costumes and postmodern flashiness. Criss's career was headed in the wrong direction, so is it fair to assume that he may have taken inspiration from the guy who was getting worldwide praise in the same field? In 2002, Criss put himself in handcuffs and shackles, then submerged himself underwater in a cramped chamber. The entire
Upside down.
time he breathed through an air hose and occasionally interacted with spectators through the glass. And of course, in the video edit, they had to include someone saying that David was inferior to Criss Angel.
I think he's better than David Blaine, in my opinion.
However,
Oh
even
my
though
god, that nigga's a paid actor. That nigga's a paid actor. There's no way.
Criss's challenge was physically demanding, it lacked the life or death edge that Blaine's challenges carry.
Yeah, bro, this nigga's in water breathing out of a tube. He's fine. He could sit in there forever. The most that's gonna happen to this nigga is he's gonna get pruny fingers. Fuck.
In his post-stunt interview, he seems entirely fine and full of excitement and energy. Then,
Yeah,
in
bro,
a
he's
moment,
just in water, bro. Breathing through a tube. Yeah, nigga, that was way better than David Blaine shit, bro. The nigga who stayed in ice, couldn't sleep, stood up for 60-something hours. Sure.
he is seemingly lifeless, being hauled into an ambulance.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, everybody, very much. New York is the greatest place in the world. New York City rocks.
I fuck with Criss Angel, okay? I do. But this is so bad. This is so... oh my god.
Even if someone thought Criss and David might be neck and neck when it comes to who can push the limits of the human body further, David would quickly prove that there was no competition. In the middle of Manhattan, Blaine stood atop
I remember this. I remember seeing this. It's actually crazy I actually remember this.
a 2-foot wide pillar nearly 10 stories tall for 2 days and 2 nights. No food, no water, no sleep, and nothing to sit or lean on. There was also no safety net or precautions set in place in case he fell. Most people could not stand for 35 hours straight, let alone being 100 feet in the air, constantly battling the wind. In his 2003 stunt, Above the Below, he'd be confined in a 3-foot by 7-foot by 7-foot transparent plexiglass block suspended 30 feet in the air in London. His goal was to stay in this box for over a month with no food, access to bathrooms, just enough resources to survive, and he lasted 44 days.
Wait, So, nigga, you for 44 days held in your piss? Or were you peeing in cups?
One of the most important experiences in my life.
He's borderline. He's borderline killing himself for these, bro. It's not funny.
One more
With each new stunt, David Blaine proved he was not tricking people, but testing the body and spirit in front of millions. He wasn't just a magician, he was an artist, receiving worldwide recognition and praise. Interviews on mainstream talk shows, fans across the globe, and superstar girlfriends like Kill Bill actress Daryl Hannah. Blaine made magic globe, and superstar girlfriends like Kill Bill actress Daryl Hannah.
Oh, her. I thought he showed a video of Uma Thurman and was like, called her a different name. I was like,
Blaine made magic interesting and respected on a mainstream level, proving to networks that audiences were entertained by it. So when A&E took a chance on Criss Angel's reality TV show called Mindfreak, it was clear that they wanted their own magic star to capitalize on this cultural wave. However, Criss could not compete with David's level of dedication. Blaine treated his stunts like scientific experiments, spending months or years training with world-class doctors, freediving experts, and neurosurgeons to understand the limits of the human body. Every second of his preparation was real, and the risks could have cost him his life. Criss, on the other hand, was producing dozens of Mindfreak episodes per year, and the further you look into the formula behind it, the more you realize it is the furthest thing from magic. Criss Angel blew the minds of anyone under the age of 12 with the
don't do me like that, Patrick. Don't do me like that, Patrick. Mindfreak was cold, though. Don't do me like that, Patrick.
Release of his show, Mindfreak. He accomplished incredible stunts like walking on water in a hotel pool
levitating. Let's not forget the most popular one. A nigga would levitate, yeah.
Filled with people. There's absolutely no way that there could be some sort of plexiglass bridge to help him with this stunt, or when he levitated from one building to another.
Yeah, I did it earlier, nigga. Y'all know I see this how I prove. I proved that I fuck with Criss Angel because I did this move earlier. Yeah.
And he would
also
in front of people. Or my personal favorite, when he told this little girl that he would transform into a 10-year-old boy by sliding down this slide at a playground.
Maybe I could be 10 years old again.
How'd you do that? Magic.
Criss Angel also consistently claimed that he could walk through solid objects, such as doors or closed windows.
I've proven that a solid can pass through a solid. I've demonstrated it literally when I passed through a storefront window. Now watch. Hit it. As I passed through a taxi cab.
He would tell you to look, but then cover up what you are supposed to look at in the name of magic. Him walking through a metal fence was one of the most egregious examples. And of course, a magician is never supposed to reveal his secrets. But the problem is, magicians have an unspoken agreement with their audience. We know it's an illusion, but we also know it's possible with skill, misdirection, or ingenuity. Mindfreak didn't feature illusions you could admire or potentially recreate. It was nothing more than a product of crappy reality TV. The key components that made Mindfreak work had nothing to do with Criss Angel actually defying physics. Firstly, the show relied heavily on stooges, which is the term for paid
actors. I fucking knew it.
Actors pretending to be random bystanders who would gasp and scream right on cue. Camera effects did the rest. Strategic cuts, tricky angles, and edits that concealed wires, trapdoors, or entire set pieces. And sometimes these
needless to say, I was very disappointed when I found out about those little clear wires that people use when he like walked on water, levitated. That's why I was saying he would levitate like an inch or two off the floor. Except for that building one, he would levitate like an inch off the floor and then land, and everybody be like, holy shit. Whole time niggas was on a wire, bro. He got lifted up by the wire, put back down.
Can be really interesting. Like when he laid on this bed of nails and had an 8,000 pound...
Oh, the nails! Oh, I remember that episode.
truck rest on top of him. You know it's not real, but it does genuinely have you wondering how they did that. But they often got lazy. One of his favorite tricks was just putting a tarp over something and then making it disappear. It's such a
that could just be edited.
Wildly unimpressive stunt that is so easy to edit. It just leaves you to believe that the show was made for children. Like in this clip where he puts a bike underneath a tarp and you can see the bottom of the wheel. Then in the next frame, the shape looks entirely different and he magically makes the bike disappear.
Ow!
Man, there's gotta be something here. You looking up there for? You did that right now in front of my face.
I swear half of this
You did that right now, right in front of our face. Nigga reading the script.
show was just him covering things up with a tarp and making it disappear and then levitating to his next stunt. And then there were the mindfreak consultants, which were basically just actors that were hired to provide testimonials that everything he was doing was real and high stakes.
There's real danger involved with this, and I try to talk him out of doing this. This angel is certainly one to help people escape from the everyday mundane with the stunts that he performs. Criss has played with fire before, and he's not been burned. Maybe a little bit, but not enough to hurt and kill him. This time, he's putting himself in a situation. Why? Because it's not enough. It's that amping things up.
As the seasons went on, the episodes got more insane, unbelievable, and uncreative. Like, look at this clip where he acts like a forklift went through his stomach. Or when he cut a woman in
Yo, I'm so glad that I didn't see some of these as a kid, because that shit just
half.
Pull right now, let's pull.
He seemed to be obsessed with the idea that he could defy or cheat death. And so was David Blaine. But the difference was, David was actually doing it. Criss was just making it look like he was doing it. Now, was it wildly unhinged and entertaining TV? Yes. When Mindfreak aired in the summer
yes, it very much was, because I was watching that shit all the time.
of 2005, it drew in over 1 million viewers on average before peaking at 3 million during the third season's premiere. However, the biggest problem with the show is that Criss insisted so hard on presenting everything as authentic and real, because when you hear him taunt and challenge David Blaine, it starts to make you think his ego got to his head. The beef started when Blaine attempted to break the world record for holding his breath underwater. The record at the time was just shy of 9 minutes. He could already do a few minutes easily, but his theory was that if he could spend 7 days submerged in a tank of water, his body would adapt to the conditions, and then he would remove the oxygen and escape from the tank slightly over 9 minutes to break the world record. After 7 days submerged in a tank at Lincoln Center, Blaine removed his breathing apparatus and attempted his escape. However, the movement of his body caused him to waste additional oxygen. He blacked out at 7 minutes 8 seconds and had to be saved, making the stunt a failure. Criss Angel took this moment to claim that David was copying his 24 hours underwater stunt from 2002.
Well, I think he just did something that wasn't so successful.
What, the orb thing?
In water. It was like, dude.
It's like, what? He's in a big, like, goldfish bowl for what? It was 2 days, 3 days?
It was a long time. The thing is, I did it already, and it's just weird why
and you did it more spectacular.
And you did it more spectacular. This nigga's surrounded by yes men, bro. He's surrounded by yes men. Bro, that's not exactly what he did. Yes, you guys were both submerged underwater, but he was trying to see if his body would acclimate to being underwater for so long, so then he would try and take off the mask and see how long he could hold his breath, essentially seeing if he could turn into a fish. You nigga just was underwater breathing through a tube for 24 hours, niggas.
Whatever. You know, he's a good guy. I wish him the best.
You could tell he had been waiting for a reason to call him out.
You know what he's going through, and I just, for the life of me, I don't understand why he is doing something that's been done before. I don't know if he's running out of stuff.
This sounds like a different interview. Like, this nigga's just in his mind. Rent free, just living in your head, bro.
Now, the two stunts were very different. Criss did 24 hours underwater just to make a grand escape, whereas Blaine did 7 days. Plus, he was trying to break the record for holding one's breath. And Chris's 24-hour stunt came after Blaine's stunt, where he was encased in ice for over 2 days. It is wild for Criss to compare the one time he did an endurance feat to any of David's, but he didn't stop there.
You know, just to cut to the...
That's what I was saying. You know what, Patrick? Me and you be on the same wavelength all the time. Like, bro, it was a completely different thing.
Case, I respect David. You know, he is a creation of television and did a fantastic job doing what he does. I'm willing, and I've said this before, I think his biggest fear is me, because I'm the real deal.
The guy who pretends.
Wow, what a narcissist. I didn't know anything about these interviews, bro. This nigga's a narcissist. Oh my god.
He can fly and cut people in half for a living, who hires actors to react to it and uses heavy special effects to create the illusion, calling himself the real deal, is bold. He also claimed that David talked badly about him in the press, and I looked extremely hard to find proof of that, but I could not.
David Blaine, bro. He said, you know what? This nigga is hating, but I'm gonna keep moving in silence. Real G.
Thing on the line, because you know the truth of the matter is he talked a big game in the public about me. It was on the radio, and you know, but when it came down to it, we tried to contact him to set it up. He wanted no part of it. So I'm just the type of person that, you know, what I do is what I say. What I say is what I do, and I just expect people to, you know, be the same. And unfortunately, he wasn't. But anytime, you know, I'm willing. I'll quit my career if I lose. I'm totally serious. I mean, I have
anything he'll do, you'll do.
Anything he wants to do, anytime, any place.
Criss was hellbent on having some sort of trick-for-trick magic duel like they were boxers in a ring. He insisted on turning magic into a competition, and no
this nigga's fist say nicka.
Duel like they were boxers in a ring.
Joking,
he insisted on turning magic into a competition, and no true magic fan is sitting at home saying, my favorite magician could beat your favorite magician. It's not like sports where you keep score and crown a champion. It's about creating wonder, mystery, and letting an audience suspend their disbelief for a moment. Plus, I found no evidence of this magic duel that he claims David was running from. He even had the audacity to claim that David Blaine, who was much more famous than Criss Angel, was only popular because he was dating superstar models and actresses.
You know what's kind of funny is, like, you know, David Blaine, which, you know, I give him a lot of credit for what he's doing, but is known because of who he dates. I want to be known
This nigga just sounds like a hater. Criss, you know what, Patrick? Maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's my fault I watched this video because I fucked with Criss Angel, and now that I'm hearing about all this shit that he was doing, because I didn't know any of this shit when I was a kid. I wasn't paying attention to interviews. Fuck, I'm listening to interviews as a kid for. This nigga's a hater. He's actually a narcissistic hater. And it's disgusting. I probably wouldn't have been a fan if I had known this earlier.
What I do.
What makes this criticism even worse is that Criss Angel was the one dating way more high-profile women. Britney Spears, Cameron Diaz, Lindsay Lohan, Paris Hilton, just to name a few. It was starting to look more...
Wait, what the fuck? Do you guys know that Cameron Diaz does OnlyFans now? Not Cameron Diaz. Sorry, no, not Cameron Diaz. It's Carmen Electra. The Carmen Electra does OnlyFans now. I was like, how desperate could you be as a famous woman to start doing OnlyFans? But you know, I digress.
Cameron Diaz, Lindsay Lohan, Paris Hilton, just to name a few. It was starting to look more Is
Criss Angel the reason why Lindsay Lohan went insane?
Lohan, Paris Hilton, just to name a few. It was starting to look more and more like Criss was just jealous. David had performed for sitting presidents in the White House, like when he had a funny interaction with George Bush, shaking his arms and managing to steal his watch with some sleight of hand.
Say a number from 1. Well, think of a number from 1 to 20.
I see him doing it.
17. Here, I got a present for you.
Was it 17? Right, I was 17. Doing it. I seen him doing it. He was messing with the belt buckle with his index finger.
Yeah. But I have a present for Mr. President. It's a...
Oh, God. I took my watch off.
Meanwhile, Criss Angel brought in a Barack Obama impersonator.
Oh, man. I was about to say, really? He brought Barack Obama? Impersonator. Now from the side, I can see it. This nigga's not Barack Obama.
And acted like it was really him. David never responded to any of Criss's criticism, but Criss was on a warpath. He was determined.
You know what, David? I'm gonna take inspiration from you, David. Whenever I get these hating ass niggas in my comments, hating ass niggas in real life, I'm just gonna move in silence. I'm just gonna keep doing my thing, just like you, David.
Responded to any of Criss's criticism, but Criss was on a warpath.
Not responding
he was
to none of that
determined to
shit.
send a message to Blaine, something that he would have to respond to. So he dedicated an entire segment on his show Mindfreak to making fun of David Blaine. In the episode, Criss did a full hair and makeup
Bro, this nigga seems like a fan. He seems like a fan who didn't get an autograph from David Blaine, so he set his whole career path out to just get back at him. Insane.
transformation to make him look exactly like David. Then he mimicked his stoic voice and demeanor in a way that made him seem boring and dry.
I don't know if I can get off. It's kind of hard. Watch.
Y'all niggas tell me if you believe me now that I used to watch Criss Angel like that. I told you, the nigga would do this, go up, get off the floor by like an inch or two and then land again. Like he did some shit. And you see, yo, I don't notice this shit as a kid, but I know it now. You see how like the camera zooms into his feet? So whatever's going on at the top, you cannot see.
Criss seemed really bent out of shape that people still talked about David Blaine's levitation illusion from over 10 years ago at that point. Criss is clearly upset that the only time people talk about his levitations, they mention how obviously fake they are.
Yeah, that
are we really supposed to
horrifying.
believe this man floated Shaquille O'Neal over a house? Like, what are we talking about here? Throughout the sketch,
Hey, bro. Hey, bro.
Shaquille O'Neal over a house. Like, what are we talking about here? Throughout the sketch, Criss set up multiple
That shit look
failed
nasty.
tricks to make it seem like David was terrible at the craft.
A card. Don't tell me what it is. Queen of Hearts. Seven of Hearts. I want you to think of that number and concentrate on it.
Okay.
This
The
nigga's an
number
asshole.
you're thinking of is 32.
No.
Criss Angel ended this bit by mocking David even further and claiming that his career was in shambles.
7101.
7101. That was the number I was thinking of. It's weird. I think I have to get up for free now because I was thinking in my mind 7101.
Why can't I get it to you?
I'm David Blaine.
I'm sure at this point you realize this was no rivalry. It was a one-sided obsession.
Yeah.
Criss Angel was so fixated on David Blaine, and David just didn't care. Within
Love
the
you,
past
David.
15 years since this episode released, David never once mentioned Criss in interviews, never clapped back, never even acknowledged him publicly. The harder Criss tried to tear David down, the more obvious it became that he was measuring
Yo, W fucking David. Sometimes, bro, silence is the only thing you need, bro. Sometimes silence is the best answer, bro.
his own worth against him. Angel wanted the recognition that Blaine had, which is silly because he was wildly successful himself. Mindfreak was a cultural phenomenon. His
I watched it so much.
Las Vegas residencies alone generated over $150 million in tourism revenue in a single year, and his global ventures, from touring shows to merchandise and magic kits, have contributed to a net worth estimated between $50 and $70 million. Clearly, there was plenty of room in the world for two magicians to be wildly
Niggas act like two legends cannot coexist.
successful, but Criss never let it go. They went in their separate directions for over a decade, both having successful TV shows, one where David does tricks like actually inserting a needle all the way through his hand, and one where Criss Angel still pretends to rip people in half. They both continued to have wildly successful Las Vegas live shows, but ultimately, after all this time, Criss Angel just could not get David's live show still pretends to rip people in half. They both continued to have wildly successful
David Blaine's still doing this shit?
Las Vegas live shows, but ultimately, after all this time, Criss Angel just could not get David Blaine out of his head. And recently, Criss would open up for the first time about his obsession on Steve-O's Wild Ride podcast, sharing that he always felt like he deserved to be on the throne.
Listen, David Blaine, I give props to. He came out, did Street Magic, you know, blew up before I did. Give him all the props in the world. When he was coming up, you know, I was very aggressive because I had a dream, I had a vision in my mind. I wanted to accomplish it. Whatever David is doing, I can do it. And I'll do it side by side with him. I guarantee you that whatever he does, I'll last longer, I'll do it better, I'll do whatever. Because I was committed to give my life to beating him or anyone else. Because I had something so bad that I wanted, and he had it. So he had a big target on his head.
This is the most honest Criss has been with himself in a long time.
Yeah.
He admits that he saw David as a competitive target and that he had the status that Criss always wanted. However, he failed to understand that he created an extremely one-sided rivalry, which is why it was extremely awkward when he approached David Blaine backstage in 2023 after never meeting in person for their entire lives.
I saw him and I went to his show and I was like, dude, you know, I just want to wipe the slate clean. I've never met you before, so I just want to say, like, you know, no hard feelings. Like, I apologize for anything that might have offended you or anything like that. I took off. I had a beautiful, beautiful ring, 20 G's. I took it off and I said, this is for you. And I said, let's build a friendship and stuff like that. Because I'm talking, this was in like the early 2000s that this went down. And I gave it to him and he's like, oh, I can't accept this because I'm a minimalist. And then he called his friend over and was like, hey, let's put it in a museum. You know, like, you could do whatever you want with it. I'm giving it to you. And then the guy comes in. He's like, oh, okay, thank you, Criss. I was like, well, I gave it to David.
Yeah.
If he wants to give it to you, that's his business because it's a gift from me. And then I was like, yeah, let's do a picture. And he's like, oh, I can't do a picture with just you and me alone. And it's just bizarre, dude. Like, just bizarre behavior. And it's like, dude, grow up.
Criss failing to understand why David wants nothing to do with him is peak delusion and
narcissism. Still narcissism, because it's like, bro, I don't want a picture with you. And he's like, you don't want a picture with me? Like, bro.
Continuing to claim that it was David who was in the wrong is dangerous levels of coping.
Wasn't like we had a fist fight. It's not like we ever even met before. It's not like we ever even had a conversation on the phone. Nothing. It was just some banter in the press because in
the press. This nigga never talked about you. It's not banter if two people, if it's only one person. It's just yapping if it's one person. Me, I'm yapping.
And, you know, he's ripped me off with stuff that I've done. You know, like I've been on the water for 24 hours, then he borrowed that, and then he did it later, which is totally cool. Like, God bless him. Like, it's not a big deal.
Criss Angel always wanted David Blaine to
it looks like Ozzy Osbourne in this picture, bro.
Validate him as an equal or even as a rival. But David never gave him that satisfaction. Not once did Blaine clap back in an interview, never acknowledged him in the press, never even hinted that Criss was on his radar, and that silence spoke louder than anything. To David, there was no rivalry, no competition, nothing to respond to. And since Criss was incredibly successful himself, he had to sit there and justify why David wanted nothing to do with him. Oh, he must be the weird one. Oh, he is insecure about copying me. Or he is afraid of facing me in a magic duel. He spent years projecting his insecurities onto someone who just didn't care. David simply went about his career, unbothered. Criss thought that once they finally met in real life after over 20 years,
I can't take a picture of you by yourself, so he took a picture with every one of these niggas.
he will get
W. David, bro. W. David, bruh.
The response he wanted, and better yet, he could be seen as the better person for squashing the beef. But instead of finally getting closure, he was met with the same thing he'd always gotten from David Blaine. Nothing. And nothing stings more than realizing your greatest rival never even saw you as one.
Yo, David, bro, Patrick, bro. I'm sorry I missed your last video, bro. This nigga Patrick spitting, bro. But you see this video right here? The secret truth behind David Blaine's magic. When was this uploaded? I need to know. I may not watch it. I'm not gonna lie. I might not. I can't even lie to y'all. But W Video Patrick, as always, And I'll see you next Monday. And y'all will see me next Tuesday with another Patrick CC upload. As long as it's not about politics. Sorry, Patrick. Again.